Welcome to the show. This is Anna MacMillan with you with ICN Talk. And this is the second season, and I'll be your host. This is your weekly space to explore the future of Web3, blockchain, and digital innovation. We are broadcasting live every Friday from Dubai, United Arab Emirates. Here you will have real conversations with builders, investors, and people leading and shaping the technology for tomorrow. We will have insights, trends, and all the stories behind the headlines ahead. Please follow us on our social media channels, ICN Web3 News, and subscribe so you never have to miss one of our episodes. Be aware of impersonators online and stay safe. My only social media platforms are verified, so you can follow me there. Thank you for joining us. So a little bit about me. I'm a 3X co-founder and successful. I had 3 successful exits. I've been a global capital strategist and a board-level operator. I'm a former pharma C-level with more than 15 years in international leadership across pharma and defense. I'm an advisor to foreign sovereign wealth funds and institutional investors, leader of a family office and 2 private investment platforms, and lately the founder of the Women Investment Network. With us today, we welcome Faraj Abutalibov. He's our guest. He's an engineer, executive leader, and founder in blockchain, AI, VC. He's been in oil and gas, and he's previously have been in multiple relevant international companies. He worked at BP, ExxonMobil, and currently he's a senior advisor for the Stellar Foundation and a co-founder for CrossCurve. And he's also in the crypto space. So welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
It's great to have you with us. So let's go a little bit over the news. Would you like? So we tell the people a little bit better, why are you here? What are we discussing? So one of the key topics today is that the CFT has approved the first ever spot crypto, for products to trade on registered U.S. exchanges. And this marks, of course, a major step towards the regulated market integration, opening doors for institutional investors who previously stayed away due to, of course, the lack of regulatory clarity. Also, the Deutsche Börse and Kraken announced a strategic partnership to bridge traditional markets with crypto infrastructure. That's really important, guys. A huge move that could make it easier for banks, asset managers, and all financial institutions to access digital assets through trusted European market railways. So we also have, very interestingly, BlackRock had released a report forecasting a strong digital asset growth despite macroeconomic uncertainty at the moment. And they suggest that, the rising of the U.S. economic risk could actually accelerate the crypto adoption, contrary to what a lot of people have been thinking, positioning digital assets at the hedge and opportunity class for global investors. So now that we have you here, Faraj, let's talk a little bit about this news, because I think you're the perfect person to discuss a bit more about this. You've built across oil and gas, AI as a VC, and you've been in blockchain. What do you think are the fundamental principles for engineering, from engineering to, let's say, energy markets, where you think the Web3 ecosystem still haven't understood correctly?
So thank you for having me first. For sure, I believe that what we can see from our weekly news that there is a better regulatory system coming in, especially from US. It's catching up with a worldwide regulatory push, especially in UAE. There is a very strong regulatory push towards bringing digital assets more into like regulated space. So large financial institutions to adopt them, and Deutsche Bank, for example, and BlackRock already predicting and partnering with the large crypto institutions. My experience from the legacy oil and gas shows me that there is a very important step when regulators are on par and support the industry. It starts to bring large amount of inflows in capital, and that brings major players in the game. So up until recently, crypto in major part was lacking the support from the major financial institutions, and sometimes were considering themselves as a rival to those, and they would say, okay, we're gonna build completely new financial system, which I believe was like very idealistic worldview, because our world still demands energy every day, still demands a lot of manufacturing, and it all was built from the other industries. So I see a very symbiotic relationship where the new blockchain technology can bring a lot of improvements in the traditional systems, bring provability, will bring decentralization, and a lot of the benefits that blockchain in general as a technology can bring. And I see this merge happening, and I'm very happy to be part of it right now.
Do you see a gap currently between the skills that traditional industries have internally and what are demanded in order to implement blockchain across them?
Absolutely. I think, first of all, there was a lot of misunderstandings especially from the traditional institutions, and not understanding what exactly blockchain is all about. There were a lot of bad actors, bad PR that was present, and regulatory uncertainty didn't allow them to fully grasp all the benefits that blockchain technology could bring. Right, so I was working for large energy giants, and I was lately on one of the largest oil and gas conferences, ADIPEC. I can see that every year there is more and more interest towards blockchain technology as a whole. The Stellar Foundation, it builds and supports the Stellar network. It was built as a payment-focused chain, and it's operational for more than a decade with uptime of 99.99%. And that system already has major partnerships in financial world, and will support to build new financial rails and support the financial institutions such as Franklin Templeton to actually build something incredible in the financial world.
So to add to that, what would you say are the biggest mindset shifts that we need for moving legacy industries into decentralized technologies?
So the legacy shift would need to happen from both sides, right? From crypto and blockchain space, we shouldn't expect those legacy systems to change very rapidly. Yes, we would want them to be 24/7, we would want everything to be on blockchain. But from legacy systems, they want to have very slow and calculated steps in order not to break things. So in oil and gas, it's very it's a system that was built on the risk management. So, for example, on the governance side, we can see so many failures in the crypto world when major protocols would have outage for 1 or 2 hours, sometimes days, when there is like governance issues, when there is improper response to hacks. In major institutions, we don't see such news because the systems are built in a robust way. So that process, that merging process, when these legacy institutions will be adopting all the benefits of the blockchains, is happening. But it will not be as fast as many people in blockchain would think that it would happen.
So it really sounds like from the blockchain and Web3 industry, we have a lot of homework in order to update and upskill, not only in terms of technology, but also in terms of mindset, to move towards a more institutional mindset to be able to serve better these big stakeholders, which brings me a lot to a next question that I have for you, because I think we are discussing what are all the underserved opportunities that we see in Web3 and AI. What would you say in the industries where you have been a founder and an investor, big opportunities right now?
Absolutely. Of course, there is like some estimates are saying that there is like 1 billion of unbanked people worldwide, right? Okay. So instantly, the blockchain and payments and solutions that will improve financial system for those people would be, this is a big room for showing like a real change in the world, right? There is also everyday financial services that Stellar is focused on, for example, making it benefit, make it more equitable in accessing it for the worldwide population, making those services as easy to use as possible. Right, there are so many examples when in Africa and even in some developed nations, when you have to get your access to credit or sometimes to your salary very quickly. You cannot do that. The wire goes a long time. Like even the word wire is it comes from telegraph times, when telegraph wires were there. It's 50 to 100-year-old technology, and we're still waiting for business days to operate those. So those type of small incremental steps would help all of us to live better. With AI, for example, there is biggest problem of AI, which is hallucination, right? AI hallucinates. So how do you prove that the data that is produced by AI is actually true? So how do we prove it in a way that we collect all the information? If it is on blockchain, it's way easier to prove what it is, right? So, for example, with medical data, you put the information together. Sometimes due to privacy, you can disclose it. So blockchain technology could help there. There's so many industries that would be changed by both blockchain and AI. And it's very interesting.
If you had to point 3 ways where you think, the intersection of AI and blockchain can massively change traditional industries, what would be these 3 specific points?
So first of all, it could be blockchain. Anywhere where we need to have a robust data source would be the great example. So for example, healthcare. Right, you cannot make an assumption that AI analyzes a lot of data and produces you the results. You have to actually trust those results, right? AI analysis is used a lot, but it will be used even more because the world produces more and more data. So supply chain could be another one. So a lot of blockchain use is used, for example, for trade finance, all the inefficiencies where there is a lot of agents present. It can be disrupted for sure. And of course, financial services and payments and banks would be adopting more, and financial institutions like asset managers would be adopting blockchain, and AI components that basically optimize. AI agents could provide a lot of useful work that was used to be done by sometimes people, sometimes by algorithms, but agents would be probably the next step and probably will create a next industrial revolution, where instead of having like 2-3 departments, it can be all outsourced to an AI agents with blockchain verifiability behind that, so they do not hallucinate, or there is like a provable track of what it has been done and why, etc. And AI agent operators that would write the logic. So that definitely can be actually, those agents can be in any industry.
It's very interesting that you're discussing the future of work, and in which industries do you think it's more likely that we would see a massive adoption that would require, let's say, reskilling, and in which industries do you think we are talking directly of potential unemployment, for example?
Any industries that would require routine work. For example, law, that you actually analyze a lot of information, you provide your analysis based on that information. Could be accounting, when you do a lot of operations with numbers. Some people would say creative content generation. It used to be the industry that would be the least automatized, like 5 years ago. Now with Sora, with Mind Journey, that actually is completely different. A lot of investments are going to, for example, generating entertainment content by AI. But again, there are so many experts that would pick the industry, but I believe that with a regulation coming in, the first one to go would be tech companies adopting AI, and probably going into the financial world with blockchain and becoming digital banks in some sort. And opposite, digital banks going into AI, using AI agents, and starting using their current traditional financial infrastructure to improve the industries where they have already invested, for example. So who will be the winner in this game? Because in US, for example, a lot of tech giants started to issue their own stable coins, or started to look into that direction, started to merge, and merging acquisitions are a very hot topic now in that industry. So we don't know, but I'm hopeful that we'll see some improvements in everyday people's lives, where me, you, someone else would say, okay, this is another ChatGPT moment. AI, intersection of AI and blockchain allowed us to do, be so better off, right?
Are we in an AI bubble?
Very, very interesting question. I believe that a lot of people say yes. And when even the leaders of AI say that, yeah, there is some bubble elements around our company to get $100 billion more value because just partnership announcement, I guess, yes, we are. Whether it will be the same like .com bubble where everything will be crashed, all the stocks of all AI companies, probably not. Where will there be repricing of current levels, where NVIDIA costs more than a lot of tech giants combined together and a lot of energy giants combined together? Probably yes.
A lot of builders and innovators are watching the show today. And since we are talking about an AI bubble, I think we also have a blockchain bubble or a Web3 bubble. And I would love, especially considering that you have this investor and VC experience, what would be some strategic mistakes that you would recommend our founders to avoid, especially when seeking investment, especially when socializing their ideas and looking for partnerships? It's great that you have mentioned partnerships. It's one of the key things that are being used now in order to elevate, of course, company valuations and so on and so forth.
So first of all, of course, I would encourage everyone to understand what AI can bring, and understand that AI of tomorrow will be way more powerful of AI of today, and build your companies with that in mind. If I would be starting a company, I would hire, for example, developers that are power users of AI. that can code and generate amount of workload with AI that sometimes, like 3-4 years ago, would take entire team to build. So we will be entering the era where like teams of 10, 20 people, but very, very powerfully skilled, using AI, using actually AI models on their own local data that they are experts in to generate some like dramatic improvements in these industries that they're working in. For example, I'm from oil and gas. I was speaking with a lot of people who are geologists or who are geophysicists, and they actually train their own AI models to actually improve, sometimes substantially improve the way how they look at all the logs and find the oil underneath the ground, right? So it's small companies now, but they will be acquired by bigger ones. And then you see the positive impact in the world. For young founders, I would say that one of the most important things is grit and perseverance. So a lot of people do not kind of come very hopeful that their journey will be the same like their millionaire idols' journeys. It's not usually like that. Statistically, 90% of startups fail, but those who persevere, those who start second, third, fourth startup, usually they win in life. Because number 4, number 7, number 8, they will hit that pain of like a large amount of people. They will already be experienced to deliver the product that will solve that pain. They will find already the investors who believe in them, they will provide the funding. And one of the most important things, I think, they would need to surround themselves with the people like them. So that's why I started my community of C-level executives 4 years ago when I joined from oil and gas into crypto. That's how I started this journey. And together, when you are surrounded by the people who are thinking like you, who are driven, it's way easier to persevere the hardships of everyday founders' journeys.
Do you see a shift with the age of the founders nowadays?
I think yes. In general, Gen Z population, they are exploring entrepreneurship way more. They are fine to not to look for big corporate job as a stability place for the next 5-10 years. They're actually experimenting more, and AI gives them a lot of tools to experiment and to try. So I think yes, I mean the age would be younger in my opinion, which probably is a good thing, because if you start your entrepreneurship journey earlier, you will have more failures that you can afford, right? And when with each failure, you're a better entrepreneur. So ultimately, you will get more interesting companies around ourselves by having lots of young entrepreneurial people around us.
As an investor, what are 3 key things you look at in a project before you choose to invest or add it to your portfolio?
Yeah, so I was part of VC and investment firm before. We definitely were looking into the founders, how experienced they are, and if they had previously founded startups and they still continue founding those startups, it means that they have something in them that pushes them forward. Secondly, is of course how big is the market that they are addressing, how good they understand that market. If they are not part of that market and do not have the expertise, domain expertise, what was their homework and research around that? And of course, you try to estimate the solution. But third one, sometimes it's just like understanding solution. It basically you estimate how those people, like founders, they find the creative ways around that solution, because usually the company takes like 3-4 pivots before it hits the nail. Like Twitter as a social app was, I think, pivot number 2 or 3. They initially started as a podcast company.
Correct.
So so I believe that it's all about people. It's all about market. One of the most important things in ability of a founder to raise capital, because so many projects failed because they just ran out of money. So, and a lot of founders, they just focus so much on building that they forget that at least half of their job is to go and find investors and keep their money.
So what are 3 non-negotiables for founders?
3 non-negotiables. First is give up. That's for sure a non-negotiable thing. I mean, you do not give up at any time. You just continue and continue. So many of C-levels from my network, they were so close to failure. Like in CrossCurve that I co-founded, we were like almost like every 6 months we were like on the brink of collapse, right? But every time something new idea, new investor, new connection, new change of direction, new team. Sometimes you have to reshuffle your team, allowed you to go forward, to gain more traction, to gain more exposure in the market. Second one, I would say it's being present out there, meeting investors, meeting new partners, creating those partnerships. Sometimes partnerships can be zero cost. You just see a lot of people, you show them your product, and then you kind of find the matching complementary things about those, and you create partnership. You create media exposure. And third, it's, I would say, finding right team. So hiring right people, supporting each other, and not being afraid to pivot if something goes wrong. So I would say those things.
And if you had a founder in front of you asking you, what are 3 industries that you think are completely underserved right now, and that could be a big opportunity for a breakthrough, what would you say these industries are?
So, to be honest, I believe that in any industry in the world, you will find gaps, and it depends where are you in the world. It depends what interests you. Like, for example, my son, who is present in me in this podcast, he is interested in virology and biology, microbiology. So he's like, this is his natural passion, to think about viruses, right? So, and I would encourage him to go there, but go deep, right? And find like the best university there, and try to explore things with other virologists around him, and try to find the people who invest in virology and understand where they see the gap. And then pick that gap and go forward, right? And then try to find something that what AI can help, how AI can help me in, like, for example, finding some gap there, and what is explored, what is unexplored, where the market is, what the pain points of my clients, make 10, 20, 50 interviews with potential clients. For me, financial services is always, and any industry with a lot of legacy, that stayed the same and didn't change for 100 years. For example, education. We go to similar type of schools, and school setup is similar. Yes, a little bit of improvements in IT, but in general, the systems are same. Probably it should be a little bit different in age of AI, in age of...
It's really interesting that you're bringing up education, because my next question was going to be exactly that. I mean, are we in the educational system inviting students to become entrepreneurs? Are we somehow motivating, teaching entrepreneurial skills in educational institutions right now?
Yeah, if we go back in history of education, the first schools were very similar to factories. Right? So they have the ring of the bell when factory starts, ring of the bell when factory stops. Everyone is kind of in line, sitting in the, you can only keep your hand up. You listen to the manager of the factory or teacher in that front. So now it's different, right? And it's different 10 years ago, and it's even more different now with AI, right? And schools do not know how to adapt to AI. Should they allow kids to use AI for their schoolwork or not, right? How they will check that if it is AI generated or not. So, the people were saying, okay, should we allow iPads to school or not? Because they should write by hand everything, and they should use the book, for example, to read. So there's a interesting thing that whether our education system is out of date completely, there's also innovation, usually in US, where billionaires are sending their kids to completely new schooling systems when, for example, we will only teach children what they're interested in. Whether it's right or wrong, I don't know. I'm more traditional, so we will see how it goes. I believe that large... I myself, I graduated from Harvard Business School, and I believe that these type of institutions, they deliver value to people in terms of network and in terms of knowledge.
Brilliant. It sounds like there's a lot to unpack, and it sounds like as industry we have a lot to sit and work with the educational system. I think there is a mismatch at the moment on the needs of different industries and what the educational system is delivering. It has been a pleasure to have you with us, Faraj. Thank you so much for joining us. Your insights and experience are really relevant to our community. And well, thank you very much for everyone joining us today in our live session. Thank you for joining ICN Live. And we expect to see you again next Friday.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.